Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new, my name is Shirley. In this tutorial, I'm making shorts with large gusset pockets. These pants are great for people with round hips. The rear clutch is long enough to wear without digging into the hip. The elastic belt is comfortable to wear, and there are no gathers around the center of the tummy, so they look flat from the side. The crotch depth is neither too deep nor too shallow, so design is roomy but does not look loose. Size 0 to 20 will grow larger like this. The larger the size, the larger the crotch and inseam become also. You can check the size chart in the description. The big features of these pants is a large pocket, which are gusset and can hold 2 kg dumbbell. I made these shorts with cotton or linen for summer, but you can also use wool for winter, so please try with any different materials. Print out the pattern in A4 or A3 size, and put the pieces together according to pattern layout. There are 5 parts to the pattern, and it says how many pieces to cut up for each. Please make sure you need the fabric, seam fusible, 4 cm wide elastic, and a thread. Please check the layout for cutting. Use the fabric lengthwise. Attach the fusible to the pocket facing. Use a seam fusible. If you attach the fusible to fabric before cutting, the fabric will not shrink. Step 1. Notch mark. The line in the seam allowance area is where the notch is to be placed. Pockets are here 2 points. For the belt, 4 places. Make a triangle notch in the center. On the front, put 2 notches where the pocket should be. The back is not necessary. Step 2. Pocket. Lock stitch the facing and the pocket. The curves are difficult to sew, so take your time and sew carefully. Turn the facing and the pocket opening inside out and sew them together. Cut the seam allowance in half, about 5 mm. If the seam allowance is too large for the curve, it won't turn out well. Turn the seam allowance over to the facing side and stitch from the top. So you don't need to use the iron to fold the fabric down nicely. Stitch as close to the edge as possible. Then fold the facing to the back side of the pocket and the top stitch. To further secure the facing, stitch above the lock stitch. Fold up the seam allowance over the pocket by 1 cm. Next, clear the gusset of the pocket. Fold up the lengthwise 2.5 cm. This is the location of the notch mark. Stitch on the fold. Aim for the edges as much as possible, maybe 1 mm or 2 mm. Of course, you will need to do back stitch at the end. Place the pocket on the front. Use the notch marks as a guide. Temporarily place it and figure out where the corners are. Pin the gusset to the main body with the edge of the gusset with a clean straight line in mind. This is easy once you get used to it, but maybe a little difficult for first-time users. First, sew the gusset lengthwise. After sewing, fold the gusset and sew the bottom line. Let's see it. Sew the lengthwise. Stitch back more than usual and firmly. When you put things in the pockets, the threads tend to fly. Sew the bottom line, but it will be better and steadier if you sew 1 cm lengthwise before sewing the bottom. Temporarily stitch the side line. And stitch the top line temporarily as well. Step 3. Main body. Lock stitch the center line of the pants from the waist to the hem. Turn the front pants and the back pants inside out and sew them together at the side. Lock stitch them together. Once open, turn the seam allowance to the rear side and top stitch. Iron the hems in 2 folds. First, iron the fold marks at 1 cm. Then iron another at 2.5 cm. Turn them inside out and sew in seam together. Open the folded marks. Sew the hem, the seam allowance open. The beginning and the end of the seam should be as the inseam, so it will be hidden and look good. Step 4. Left and right. Turn one leg over and place the other leg inside the tube of the one that has been turned over. Once they are stuck so that they are inside out, clip the crotch. The center part of the inseam will look nice if you don't shift it. Iron the seam allowance open. Step 5. Belt. Sew the edges of the belt together. This part will be just at the deer center line. Fold the width in half and iron it so that the seam allowance is inside. It is easier to iron if you use a clip or something to hold it in place. Sew around the front center except between the notch and the notch as the center front. Insert the elastic. Be careful not to let the elastic gather the tummy area. To prevent the end of the elastic from losing, pin them in place. When you have finished inserting the elastic all the way around, sew the ends together. I recently saw on Twitter that if you sew in a zigzag style, the elastic will expand and contract in the sewn area as well. Gently place it inside the belt. Pin the notch. Stitch on here. Stitch back tightly. Then close the elastic opening. Pin the gathered area so that the gathered are evenly gathered and the back center position is also confirmed. Stitch in the gathered area only halfway across the width. With the needle in place, stretch the elastic tightly by hand and sew. Please be careful not to slip the stitches on the top and bottom fabrics. Sew the belt and body together. Clip the belt to the body using the notch marks as a guide. This is the most difficult part to me. It takes a lot of strength and it's hard to sew. After the lock sewing machine, tack the edge inside to finish. Finally, here is a view from the back of the finished product. Did you make it well? If you have any difficulties, please ask in the comment section. So thank you for watching this video today. Have a wonderful sewing life. Bye!